Well, hello and welcome everybody to another Jed Talks. And I have another lovely lady with me today that I've known for, several years. I have Joanne Figov. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you,
you.
Jackie.
Thank you for wanting to be a part of this, because I'm just loving it. And you'll notice from Joanne's accent that she comes from South Africa, Cape Town, wasn't it, Joanne? I think you said you were.
That's right. I can never disguise myself.
And why would you want to? You know, I just think it's great, all these different accents, people from all over the world, and it's an interesting point to then talk to someone and find out about where they've come from. But Joanne has been here since the early 90s. And she's first trained as a psychiatric nurse. That was back in South Africa, wasn't it, Joanne? You said?
Yes, that was in Cape Town. I did a degree at the University of Cape Town, and then I couldn't do anything with it. So I decided to go into nursing as a form of healing.
Right. And I've worked at places like the Priory Psychiatric hospitals, so I've met lots of psychiatric nurses, and oh boy, their job, I wouldn't want to do it, I must admit. So hats off to you for doing all that training. And now she works as a Bowen therapist. Would you say it was therapist, practitioner? How would you?
I'm either. I like the word practitioner, but
right.
Either is fine.
Yeah. And Joanne got into the Bowen because she learned it. I think some Australian teachers came and taught Joanne how to do it, and then asked her to be one of the first teachers in the UK, which I think is amazing. So if you want to tell us a bit about that, Joanne, and also what exactly is Bowen?
Well, that's a good question. It's a body energy technique. I've been doing it for over 25 years, and I still do it as my main foundational technique. And that's what people come for most of the time in my very busy clinic here in Southbourne in Bournemouth. And it's testament to the Bowen technique that it works so well because it has a wide variety of application. It works primarily on the physical, so on the muscles and the fascia, and it helps to take the tension out of the muscles and the fascia. So it's very, very good to relax the body.
At the same, sorry to interrupt. Could you just explain what the fascia is? Because I came across this the other day.
Right.
And I'm not clear what it is, so I'm wondering, other people not quite sure what that is.
Thank you, Jackie. Good question. It's just so obvious because I work with it, so I assume people know. We have the muscles, and in fact, fascia has become a very trendy word these days in the body world. The fascia surrounds all the muscles, all the organs, our whole body. And it actually is really interesting because it now can explain to people, if I do a move on a particular part of the body and the person feels it, further down somewhere else in the body, or they feel a vibration, that's because of the fascia. So if the fascia is restricted in one area, it can cause a problem or a pain or symptom in another area. So basically we're working on muscles and the fascia that surrounds the muscles and the organs. So with Bowen, I'm touching the muscles, the actual body, and that includes the fascia because we can feel that on a superficial level. And it realigns the body, it realigns the pelvis, whatever needs to be realigned, the pelvis, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders. So on a physical level, it works incredibly well for physical pain, if you've hurt yourself, aches or pains of any kind. But what makes it unique in my mind is that it has this incredible ability to work on an energetic level. And that's what I've explored and developed over the years. So when I say an energetic level, it's able to release our pent-up emotions, some of our trauma, and huge amount of stress from the muscles, fascia, and even our cells. So when people come to me, they may come because they need their hip realigning, or they may come for a pain in their back or their neck. That's very common. However, these days, I have a lot of people coming for chronic illnesses, anxiety, depression, because a lot of trauma and stress has built up over the years, And it's a well-known fact now that the memory is in the muscle, the memory is in our bodies. And the Bowen technique, and what I call my own intuitive Bowen, which I'll explain later, actually can help to release that over a few treatments or more from the person's body. And what I'm finding so interesting, especially the last few years, is that when I help the person to release stress, trauma from the body, the tissues and the fascia, it obviously affects the mind. So there's the body-mind connection, and it helps the person to release that stress or whatever is going on in their life without always the need of talking therapy. However, a lot of people at the same time will be doing that. So it's another way of looking at healing, that we can do it through the body.
Yeah. Wow. And yeah, certainly, you know, for me, whenever I have these sort of processes and it starts to release things,
Yes.
I know within about 20 minutes, I just want to go to sleep. Because it's obviously working on such a deep level that we don't realize. Do we go through our day-to-day and we might be having these thoughts and emotions that we're just not aware
Yes.
in our cellular memory.
Yes, Jackie, thank you for bringing that up, that you feel so tired, because that's actually a really, really good thing that happens to everyone. When they sit up after a treatment, they feel very spaced out, as if they've been in a deep meditation. Yeah. And that's because the Bowen technique works on many levels. And one of them, which I think is key, it works on the autonomic nervous system. So that's our fight or flight. So we have the sympathetic, which is the alert, the tiger's coming, we've got to run. And then we have the parasympathetic, which is the relaxation response. And the Bowen and the healing that I do is able to put the person's body back into that parasympathetic response. And they feel incredibly relaxed. Some people sleep for days. So it's very common. And it's also because the stress and tension has been released from the body. That's also why. So the body feels like a rag doll. And you also reminded me, I wanted to mention a really important point, especially these days, the last couple of years, and especially since 2021. But I've seen this in the last 10 or 15 years, that 20 years ago, people would come just for something physical. But now people are coming because they know there's something more they want to release and resolve. So I work on many levels, not just the physical. So I work on the physical, emotional, mental, and the soul level. So you might say to me, well, that's really strange, Joanne, you're doing a physical treatment. How can you work on the soul level? Well, one day I had a lady quite recently, and during the treatment, people can have very profound responses. Again, everyone's unique. So it depends on the person and their blueprint. And at the end of the treatment, I said to her, you can open your eyes now, we're finished. And she opened her eyes and she said, I've seen my soul. Yes, and she sat up and I said, tell me about it. And she described her soul, what she saw. And it was so profound that I recorded it for her. And I'm going to put that in the book that we'll discuss later. So there's a wide application depending on the person, and of course, depending what the person comes for, because everyone is unique and the cause of their problem is unique, because I work with the root cause of what the issue is. A back pain is never as simple as just a back pain. It's usually to do with their marriage, relationship, their work, because I always say to the person at some point, what's going on in your life right now?
Yeah. And as you say, it's the physical manifestation could be an emotional trigger or a mental thing going on in their life, and that's how it manifests in everybody in a different way. So
absolutely. And that's a really good sentence, Jackie, because I can't stress enough that our unresolved emotional issues are trapped within the tissues in our body. And there's an old saying in the therapy world, the issues are in the tissues. And so I feel really passionately that before we can, or at the same time, while we're trying to release what's going on in our life, we have to work on the body, because there is so much tension, stress and trauma locked within the body, or various areas of the body. We all have our own weak point. And I've seen it so much over the years, including myself. I've had my own healing journey as well. And that's how I've learned so much.
Yes. I often wonder with therapists, they give so much to other people.
Yes.
And it must be important for you to have your own self-care and your own routines, and like hairdressers, you know, they do spend so much time doing other people's hair. Who does their hair?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the self-care. I think a lot of people are coming around now to the concept of self-care, to preventative, if you like, before anything really manifests into then having to go down the operation route or the medication route. If we can stop it before it gets to that point.
Yes,
then,
yes, Jackie, you've reminded me, sorry to interrupt, it's such an important point that I say to people. It's prevention. It's prevention. You don't need to come for a treatment when you've got something wrong. Have the treatment to prevent a chronic illness. And I normally see a client once a week for a couple of weeks or a bit longer, however much they need, until we get a resolution of the issue, or as good as we can get. And then I encourage people to come on a monthly basis for top up, for maintenance, because all of us, we build up stress in our bodies and minds. The two are the same. We build up stress every day. So when people come for a regular session, even if they think there's nothing wrong, when I put my hands on someone, I can feel the tension. I can feel what's going on in the tissues. So it releases the stress and the buildup, and then the person is less likely to develop a condition. Because over the years, I have seen so many people who come in and they've already got the condition. They've already got an illness. And then it can take a long time to come back to the balance of how they were before.
Right. Yes, yes. The body's always looking for, what's that word? Homeostasis?
That's right.
Always looking for balance. And with general day-to-day living, things are going to be going out of balance, and then back the other way. And so it's a constant, as you say, maintenance, isn't it? Keep up the upkeep of the body. We're always going to need something to keep us in that balance scale, as it were. And certainly for me, I like the idea of maintenance. So when you talk about the intuitive, Bowen, is this where you said, the lady that said she'd seen her soul, is that part of what happens in that process?
Yes. As I said, everybody comes for something different. And the last couple of years, especially, I've noticed a trend. I've noticed a change, and I put it down to, I feel there's a change in energy, in the energy of healing. It's almost as if the energy of healing has opened up much more for us to access much more. Because over the years, I've found I've gone deeper, and I myself have got access to my guides and to healing from almost other dimensions and other sources that's coming through. So when people come and I talk to them, and very often they'll say, oh, I've come from my shoulder, or I've got this pain or that pain, but they might suddenly start crying, or they might suddenly say, I feel there's a purpose inside, and I don't know what it is, and I can't get it out. So we talk, and I say, that's great, because we'll put that intention out there, and we will release whatever is holding you back from your body, at the same time as we will help to resolve the pain, which is probably part of that issue. And that's what I'm finding with people in the last couple of years, that they're searching. There's more. People are also much more aware these days of the body-mind connection, and that the way they feel and their pain is connected to their emotions and their awareness. So because I'm working in that way, I believe as therapists, we attract the people who come to us for our expertise in whatever area we're able to give. So I have a huge amount of people who come. Often they don't know why they're there. but they come and then they will talk about there's something that's worrying them, or there's a trauma, and they don't know what it is, and we work through that. Also, a lot of people are not aware that there are triggers. They can get triggered by something. So, for example, I had a man who came who said, I don't normally have back pain, but suddenly it's really bad. Been to the doctor, x-rays, nothing's wrong. And on talking to him, I asked him, well, what's going on? What's happening in your life? And it turned out that he'd started a new job, and he had a boss that reminded him of his abusive father. And that triggered his back pain. Yeah. So once he was aware of that, that was half the healing, because a lot of people, including me, we don't always connect the dots. Yeah. Once we connect the dots to our pain, the issue, what's going on in our life, then the healing starts already.
Yeah. Yes. And, I can certainly relate to that scenario. I get triggered by things, and it brings up a memory from years ago that I hadn't thought of for years. And as you say, I then make the connection. Oh, that's why that's coming up for me now. Yeah, I get that. And, it's also so fascinating, isn't it? And so Bowen, what's the history? How did this therapy come into being? Who discovered it? And
it's a man called Tom Bowen, and he comes from Australia, and he was alive in the 50s, 1950s, and he was just a natural healer. And there were a few people who observed him. He allowed them to observe him, and some of them went off to teach. And my teachers were Ozzy and Elaine Wrench of Bowtech, and we have the Bowen Association UK. And it's now spread all over the world. And I'm one of the teachers of Bowen, and I've been very privileged actually to have taught over the years all around the world, amazing places, including obviously South Africa, Dubai, Israel, Europe, everywhere. Turkey, I've got a wonderful friend and colleague in Turkey, Ros Elliott. She teaches Bowen there, and she also helps at a refugee center. So it's so helpful. All you need, are your hands. And you mentioned earlier, I call mine intuitive Bowen, because over the years, I've developed my own way of working, and almost my own therapy. I'm working on at the moment. And I say intuitive Bowen because people need a label in order to come. They need something to think, oh, I must go and see Joanne or someone else for some Bowen, some intuitive Bowen. And I call it that because I found over the years, while I've been working in healing, I've opened up spiritually. So now when I put my hands on someone, very often I'll get a message from the body, or I'll get a word or thought in my head. I'll get told by my guides or my inner self, my intuition, exactly what needs to be done on the person. And it's been fascinating, and I've been documenting that. And at times I'll get a mediumistic message for someone. I'm not a medium, but I discovered every now and then a message would come through, either about a deceased relative or an animal that had passed over. And the client was delighted, as was I, because it was so unexpected. And it turned out that they needed to hear that message, because those messages are quite random.
Yeah.
And I asked the clairvoyant why, and she said because that client needed that message at that time for their healing. So when it comes through, it's a very special moment. And I've had quite a lot of that. One woman, for example, came and she told me that her husband had died 6 months previously. She came for some pain somewhere in the body. She'd worked through the grief quite a lot. And because she told me, it was on my mind. And during the treatment, I had a very strong image of a man dressed very smartly, and he was surrounded by cars. And I saw him opening doors for her. And during the treatment, I shouldn't have, because I want people to be relaxed. But I said, I feel your husband's here. And did he work with cars or like cars? And she jumped up. She jumped up in delight, and she said, yes, that's him. His world was cars. Not only did he own a car that he loved, but his business was to do with cars. He dressed very smartly, and he was a real gentleman, always opening doors. And she was really happy because that was part of the healing for her.
Yeah, confirmation that he's
Yes.
still there, and the energy is still here. It just gets transmuted into something else, which I find really fascinating. So
Yes.
yeah, and it's all this these thoughts. I know you're writing a book, so what is the book?
The book is, thanks for asking, Jackie. The book is about healing. I'm very excited. Been working on it for quite a while. It should be out in the next couple of months. And it's not about research or anything technical or academic. I've aimed it at the general public and practitioners and therapists, but the general public first. It's my personal journey into healing. So it starts off briefly in South Africa and how I came over here. And it's about healing of all kinds, primarily the healing that I do, not just the Bowen. Obviously, the Bowen is my foundation of healing, and I'm very grateful for it. It's given me the foundation. So it's about Bowen. It's about all healing. It's about how I opened up, how other people can open up. It's got a huge amount of stories of my clients' case histories with their permission, stories on a physical, emotional, mental, and soul level. There are different chapters of that, stories of inspirational people, and also a section on intuition, what it is, how you can develop your own. And hopefully, to me, I would like people to read the book and find parts of it that inspire them and heal them. Because I'm sure you're like me, Jackie, that you know and you believe and you felt that there's vibration in words. There's vibration in words, and reading words like sound or anything is very healing. So the whole book, I'm hoping, will be healing to people that read it, and will give them hope. Because to me, healing and a book, anything like that, is all about hope. We all need hope. We've all been in a dark place. So hope is what it's all about. Community, serving the community, service, and bringing people together. Because I believe in bringing people together. Charity, service, which is why with healing, or any type of healing or therapy, one can take it into disadvantaged communities, into areas of the world, the third world, and work there. That's another subject.
Yeah. Yeah, so that connection, I've always felt connection and engagement with other like-hearted people is so important as a human being, and never more so after the year we've just had with this false disconnection, that we need to come back to this connectedness again. So any tools and things we can get out there to help people is absolutely wonderful. So thank you so much, Joanne. And I know you also do readings and tarot and soul readings as well, another string to your bow. And you're based in Southbourne in Bournemouth. And for those of you that are watching from anywhere other than the UK, Bournemouth is on the south coast, central, so down a bit from London and across. And that's where you find Joanne. Do you work remotely, Joanne, as well?
Yes, I do work remotely online, and it works very well. In fact, it seems to enhance the psychic aspect of it. So I do that. And I just wanted to mention that what I call my work, because there's so much under it, what I call my work is golden DNA healing. And if I may just mention that it came to me in a dream. I had a dream and I was told about this golden DNA healing. And the next day I was talking to Donna Maxine.
Oh, yes.
And I was, as we all know, we love Donna. And I was talking to her and I was telling her about the work I was developing that was just coming in. And she said to me, oh, that's golden DNA. That's the golden DNA. And it was the day after the dream. And I thought, oh, wow. So that's how that came in.
Yeah, oh, that's great. And I did an event with Donna Maxine a few days ago where she gave a beautiful talk. So Yeah, it's wonderful. Again, another connection, another thing that's connected the three of us actually. So thank you so much for your time. As always, I will put Joanne's information where you can contact her, links, etc. under the post. And I think I'll be booking myself in, Joanne, if I can, as soon as I can. So thank you for sparing the time to chat with me this morning. And for those of you watching, there'll be another Jed Talks Along very soon. In the meantime, it's a beautiful day, so enjoy your day, whatever you're doing with it, and I will see you next time.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for inviting me. Thank you so much.